So why exactly did you think it was safe for you to fix your mouth to talk about my servant Moses? What's up, y'all? Welcome to Bible study for the biblically uneducated and the slightly unhinged. We both know why we're here, so let's get started. So we in chapter 12 of the book of Numbers, right? If you came to Bible study last week, you know who Miriam is. But if you didn't, remember Moses, the one that parted the Red Sea and freed his people from slavery? That Moses, he had a sister named Miriam and a brother named Aaron. And this is like the third time that we see Miriam in the entire Bible. At this point in the story, Moses done already freed the people, and they had a pit stop on the way to the promised land that God got for him. And now that we all caught up, tell me why Miriam in here dying. Miriam done messed around and found out. So basically what had happened was Miriam was talking crazy with Aaron about Moses. They was talking about that man's wife because she was a Cushite woman, which Cushite just means that she was born in the land of Cush. That's all it was. So they was talking about her because she was a Cushite woman, but then they really started talking crazy. They was like, oh, Moses ain't special. He ain't the only one hearing from God. We hear from God too. Like really just talking crazy out the side of their neck for real. And mind you, Moses wasn't hearing none of this. But you know who was listening? God. God was listening. So God was like, I know that ain't my dog they talking about. So he came down in a pillar of cloud. And when I read pillar of cloud, I thought it was going to be more like the cumulus type of cartoony type of cloud. I don't know why. So God came down this pillar of cloud, right? And he was like, Moses, Miriam, Aaron, I'm going to need to see y'all in the tent. So they get to the tent and God was like, all right, Aaron and Miriam, I'm going to need y'all to step outside. And God was not playing with these people. God was like, I need y'all to listen up and I need y'all to listen good. Because at this point, I feel like I got to break something down to y'all. God was like, when I have a prophet, I show him visions. I speak in dreams. But Moses ain't one of them. Moses ain't one of them at all. When it come to Moses, my most faithful servant, Moses, the most humble servant on all the face of the earth, me and Moses don't talk like that. Me and Moses talk face to face. Ain't no fluff, ain't no riddles, none of that. I speak clear to this man and he speak clear to me. So why exactly did you think it was safe for you to fix your mouth to talk about my servant Moses? And then I feel like God was just like, you know what? I can't. Because he just left. By the time that his cloud got to the top of the tent, Miriam had leprosy. Skin was white as snow. And leprosy was one of the worst diseases you can catch back then. They was not playing with people who had leprosy. They had to get away from everybody. But now, mind you, that's Miriam. Now, Aaron's next to her. He had to look at Miriam, then looked at himself. Then he looked at Moses, and he immediately started begging. He was like, please, my Lord. And mind you, he ain't talking to God. They done already made God mad already. He gone. He's talking to Moses. Things done changed around here. He was like, please, my Lord, please don't hold against us the sin that we've committed oh so foolishly. But then, you know what's crazy? Moses showed them exactly why God stepped so hard for him. In that moment, Aaron is begging Moses to heal Miriam. Makes sense. But then Moses starts begging God to heal Miriam. Like, they was just talking about this man less than 30 minutes ago. And Moses doing exactly what he did probably made God even more mad. Like, how dare y'all? You see the person that you was sitting here talking about? Y'all sat here and y'all cursed this man and he trying to get me to bless y'all? And mind you, it's only Aaron at this point begging Moses for forgiveness. Miriam ain't said nothing yet. Not a I'm sorry, not a please forgive me, nothing. But after Moses begged God to heal Miriam, God was like, you know what? If her daddy had spit in her face, she would have been disgraced for 7 days. That's how long I'm gonna need her about my care. After the 7 days, she can come back, but until the 7 days, I don't want to see her. And that's the last thing God had to say about it. So Miriam just had to eat that till she was clean again and can come back to the camp. And I feel like the wildest part about this is it didn't need to happen. If they would have just minded their own business, none of this would have been happening. The first thing they even said about this man wasn't even about him. It was about his wife, the mother of his children, which are their nephews, by the way. And not because she said anything to them or she did anything to them, nothing. Just because she was born in the land of Cush. She was a Cushite woman. And first of all, what did they do to you? And second of all, that's none of your business. But then they started showing what the real problem was. They wasn't mad he had a Cushite wife. They was jealous they ain't had the type of access Moses had. They was jealous they didn't have the type of pull he had. But you know what else they didn't have? Moses' heart posture. The Bible said that Moses was the most humble person on the face of the earth. And God himself said that Moses was his most faithful servant in all his house. But where were Aaron and Miriam? Talking about that man. They was ducked off in secret talking about him. And right there, you can see why they ain't had what Moses had. Their secret place was filled with envy and jealousy. Meanwhile, Moses' secret place was filled with God and prayer. They wasn't on what he was on. They wasted their connection with God, talking about somebody else who's actually building on theirs. They just felt entitled to the type of blessings that he had, but they wasn't willing to become the type of person that he was. And it's like they were sitting there jealous of Moses. But how do you know you even want that blessing? God gives everybody tailored blessings to who they are and how he created them. And they were so focused on him and what he had that they couldn't even see what they already had. They were prophets already. They had access to God. But they failed to realize how blessed they were because they was worrying more about Moses' business than their own. Like, they could have been classified as servants too if they just got their mind together. Because God in that moment made one thing very clear. All prophets ain't servants. Because what he said was true for prophets, he said that wasn't true for his servant Moses. And in that moment alone, it showed that there is a huge difference between being a prophet and being a servant. God knew all his prophets, but only his servants knew him. Because when it came to Miriam and Aaron, God knew them, but Moses knew God. But that's why Moses ain't even have to be in a room or know what they was even talking about for him to be vindicated. And to vindicate somebody means to basically clear their name. God was always going to step by Moses because God multiplies anything that you give him. Moses gave God faithfulness. So God multiplied that and gave him that times 10. So when we talk of loyalty, I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to need God on my team every time. But it's also why I'm confused at first. Because Miriam got punished, but Aaron didn't. So I was like, God, why would you do that? Because they both was talking trash. And I'm thinking like maybe it's one of those like girl type things, a woman type thing or whatever. But then I sat with it and it came to me. They both were punished, but just in different ways because everybody handles things differently. For Miriam, the way God corrected Miriam probably wouldn't even been half as effective on Aaron and vice versa. For Miriam, the shame and the isolation from getting like kicked out the camp and then getting leprosy and all that, that was probably the type of punishment that she needed in order to correct her behavior. But with Aaron, just seeing Miriam had Aaron in check. He went from talking crazy to Moses to honoring Moses. He called that man my Lord, not my brother, my Lord, and immediately started begging for her life. And not only was he probably petrified that he'd be next, remember Miriam and Aaron grew up together. They down by law, they brother and sister. So the love that he had for his sister is what had him repenting for the both of them. Because he wasn't just begging Moses to spare him. He was begging Moses to heal her. And knowing he couldn't do nothing for her in her lowest moments was probably the worst punishment he could have ever received. And then, mind you, he was the high priest. And the high priest back then was the one that not only diagnosed leprosy in people and sent them out the camp, but when they came back in the camp to say, oh, I'm leprosy free, they're the ones that had to examine and declare them clean so that they could come back into the community. So he was the first person that she had to even come back to when she came back to the camp. And at that point, I'm pretty sure when they saw each other again, they probably had higher mindsets and better things to talk about. So basically, both people learned the same lessons. They just needed to learn it in a different way. But you know what else I found so fascinating about Moses? The fact that he didn't have to see them heal and learn their lessons and go through whatever in order to show them mercy. He showed them in real time why they shouldn't have even made him the topic of conversation. They cursed Moses, and Moses was begging for them to be blessed. And that's honestly probably why Miriam only got 7 days, so that God could prove that point. Think about it. They started off talking about this man's relationship with God, talking crazy cash money. And when God came down, God not only showed them why they didn't have that relationship, but he also made sure that they knew that that relationship that they were talking so bad about, that's the thing that saved Miriam in the end. Because God gonna step every time. But just to recap so we on the same page, number 1, mind your business. You'll be able to avoid so many problems in life if you just mind your business. So many people are in jail or in hell because they was worried about everybody's business but their own. But I promise you, you won't even be able to focus too much on other people's business when you start getting busy with your own. This wouldn't even been a situation if Miriam and Aaron had put their head down, focused on God. They would have been elevating with Moses rather than having to beg him for mercy. And side note, keeping your head down is a really important part of it because you'll mess around and be stressed out trying to go faster or work harder because these people on social media told you were supposed to be a millionaire already because they ain't your business. But don't worry about none of that. Social media ain't real anyway. All you got to do is stay in your lane and get in a position like Miriam did the first time we saw her so that when God come down your block trying to bless you, he can find you. Because if he got to go to everybody else's business looking for you, that's where he going to leave your blessings. So number 2, embody the blessing that you want to receive. They wanted a blessing they didn't have the capacity to handle. Because it wasn't like they couldn't get there. They was already prophets. They had access to God already. They were just too focused on the wrong things. Miriam and Aaron, they wasn't struggling doing their job. They was already getting blessed in that department. They already said it. They said it when they was talking trash. They said God spoke to them too. But the problem was they wanted Moses' blessing. But they didn't have Moses' spirit, which was the sole reason for him getting what he got. And their heart posture is what had them where they was at. They didn't look like the blessings they was asking God for. And according to that, they didn't look anything like the blessings that they wanted. If they had sought God out to ask for what it was that they wanted instead of being shady, they probably could have been the best trio to ever bless the Israelites. Because sometimes to get more, you do have to do more action-wise. But sometimes God just want to heal your heart and change your mindset first. And he needs you to listen, get out the way, and be still enough for him to get it done. But here's the thing. They wasn't willing to do none of that. So number 3 is one of the 10 commandments. You shall not covet your neighbor's house, your neighbor's wife, nor anything that is your neighbor's. And covet means to have an intense, unlawful desire for something that belongs to somebody else, i.e. their possessions, their spouse, or their status. Because here's the thing. Maybe the grass really is greener on the other side, but it's still not your grass. All you got to do is do the work. The internal work, the external work, heal, sit with God, seek his face, and stay off social media. Because I promise you, you don't want what everybody has. But if you doing all that and you staying diligent and you staying focused, God will give you your own. Miriam and Aaron probably wouldn't have even been able to handle the job that Moses had. But they wanted everything that was attached to it. That's like, a doctor. This doctor got an amazing house, an amazing wife, amazing kids, an amazing car. All right, cool. He's a doctor. Now, what you're not seeing is the fact that this person has an amazingly crazy amount of debt, credit score probably in the trash. They ain't seen their wife in weeks because they sleep in different beds. The kids don't even like each other and they don't like the parents too. The dog run away every 3 days and the car need a new transmission. But you look at their life and you look at their grass from where you at and it looks green. Sometimes the grass is fake. So you don't even know what others had to do to get the grass that you're trying to covet. And you don't even know if you're ready to do the same thing. So what are your grass? Yours look patchy? It don't look all that good? It don't look better than everybody else's? Yeah, so what? Take care of it anyway until it gets like their grass or better than their grass. Because the fact that somebody else has the grass that you want shows that it's possible. So thank God. But also know that's still not your grass. And be okay with that. But when you're doing number 4, it makes that journey 10 times easier. So number 4, strive to be God's servant. And you ain't got to be a prophet to be a servant. But God has already shown that there is a huge difference between being a prophet and being a servant. And because Moses is basically considered the blueprint at this point, we're going to use him. What did they say about Moses? God didn't say too much about him in this chapter, but he did describe Moses as being his most faithful. And there's 3 other things that we see in the chapter. We see that he's obedient, he's humble, and at the end, he showed that he was merciful. So that's a blueprint right there. When you make the decision to become one of God's servants, he'll take you on a journey to becoming the person that he needs you to be. And on the way, you'll just start to realize that you turn into the person that you always wanted to be. And that's how we really get to number 5. Because when we step by God, God step by us 10 times harder. God gonna step harder than anybody you know. Because he already know you gonna have extra ops just by rocking with him. Because mind you, when you wasn't rocking with God, the demons was the homies. Y'all like the same things. There wasn't no reason for them to mess with you. Like y'all was on the same type time. But when you start letting God in and you start moving different, you were the op and you will be treated like such. But God ain't new to this, he true to this. He already knew how they was gonna start moving. So he gonna step on your behalf every single time. Till even you know that they can't touch you no more. Which leads us to number 6. Let God handle it. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to cuss nobody out. You ain't gotta talk bad about them. You ain't even gotta touch them. Just relax and let God work. Let him handle your light work because that's not your business no more. But also, because God is so proficient with number 6, meaning he know what he doing and he do his job well, please pray for those people that did you wrong. One thing about God, he don't do nothing halfway. And I promise you, you didn't catch all the hell that you deserve because somebody is probably praying for you too. So please pay it forward. And honestly, it's really not for them. I now understand why people be like, oh, forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. And I used to be like, that don't make no sense. I'm straight. But now I get it. Because in those aspects, you carry that in you or you carry it on you. Like you can see it. You don't need that on you or in you. Just try to be like Moses and go to God about him. And if you can't go to God about him, go to God about trying to go to God about him. I'm telling you, it'll make your life 10 times better, I promise. But for real, we see what happened to Miriam and Aaron. It's honestly just cheaper to stop, drop, and mind your own business at this point. because that whole experience for them was just way too expensive. So seek God first, water your own grass, and have faith that what's yours is yours and can't nobody take that from you. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope y'all got as much out of that as I did. And if you did, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. And please, please, please read these things for yourself. Our next Bible study is going to be in pages 25 to 29. And if you don't have a Bible study book yet, we're going to be in 1 Samuel chapter 25. But yeah, again, please, please, please read it. You never know what you might get. It might be something totally different than what I got. And I pray that y'all have an amazingly incredible day. I love, love, love y'all, and I will see y'all next Saturday.